but hunters and livestock ranchers too. The bill calls for WDFW to consider wolf populations and recovery status in different regions when deciding how to deal with conflict. So not looking at the overall wolf management plan, but looking at it at a more regional basis, which is very important. The bill would also direct the state to spend nearly $1 million over the next 2 years on non-lethal deterrents in Northeast Washington. So they're going to dump $1 million into chasing these wolves around instead of shooting them. But again, it allows them to look at it in a much more regionalized manner instead of looking at the whole state management plan.
I wonder, let's say we had the required breeding pairs in all three quadrants,
right.
all three zones. What's the threshold? What's the carrying capacity? You take that eastern side, and we have breeding pairs that have established themselves in the coastal region in the Northern Cascades, and we look at that eastern area. What's the threshold, man? Because we protected those damn sea lions in '72, and nobody ever said, "Here's the cap."
Right.
And we're well over 300,000.
Right.
We're not going to get 300,000 wolves, Barnum, so don't get worried. But my point is, like, okay, there's the plan. I've never seen a cap number. I've never seen a carrying capacity threshold, whatever you want to call it. Here's the max number, and or all I've heard or read is we get the required breeding pairs recognized in these three zones. That we can delist them. What does that even mean? And then what are they going to move forward with? Because right now we're talking about, okay, I'm good. We're going to maybe manage it per zone. But we're talking hazing and monitoring, you know, and just kind of see how it goes. So anyway, lots of activity blowing up here. Bo's weighing in. Two have been lost in the blue so far. Cattlemen are going to be afraid to head their cattle into the wilderness to graze because of those losses.
One of those encounters was on a 160-acre parcel that was fenced. So that wasn't even a free-range area. That was just in a guy's hunt. I mean, 160 acres, I know for a lot of people that think of that, big, wow, that's big, but 160 acres is nothing. So to have wolves coming basically into your backyard to kill your cattle makes it really frustrating. So, I mean, we see, like I said, we see the population exploding, and we don't know whether or not the numbers are correct. You know, is there only 127 wolves? Well, let's kind of look at what Idaho is trying to do right now. This story popped up on me this week, and I found this interesting. In recent months, Fish and Game staff have deployed over 800 game cameras in a high-density grid throughout the state, which will take millions of pictures. Fish and Game staff collect the cameras at the end of September. Researchers will download and analyze the photos and apply statistical modeling to estimate the population. That'll be the first scientific population estimate since 2015. So, so before they came up with this method, which they've been using this method to track deer and elk populations, the game camera method, and it's been very effective for them. From 2006 to 2016, biologists counted the number of wolves within each pack from aircraft or on the ground during early winter, and use that information to calculate an average pack size, and then would apply that to the number of packs that they figured they had. So if they're doing flyovers and they tend to fly over a couple packs that, well, they got 3, they got 5, they got 7, we'll call it an average of 5, and then you apply that to your 35, 40 packs, and you're going to come up with 200, when you could be in an area that is running smaller packs, and there could be areas that are running 15 to 20 wolves in a pack. You know, I mean, it's such a
it's a swag.
It's just a weird way to do it. And so I would assume that Washington is doing something similar, doing flyovers, counting wolves, coming up with averages, calculating out a formula and coming up with. But that's the one thing I've heard most from hunters has been, there is, especially from like in Northeast Washington, there's no way there's only 127 wolves. That number is not accurate at all.
I think it's way more.
Way more.
So, well, we'll continue to follow it. I am going to work diligently, actually, to get Representative Joel Kretz. For those of you that may know him, send him a phone call, because we're going to get him on and talk to him about some of the things he wants to move forward in this wolf management problem as it sits right now, and try to get some resolution, try to get moving towards the positive, because every time we talk about this, it's nothing but negativity. So we'll see if we can't get Representative Kretz on in the near future. Also going to keep tabs on what's going on with the commission. I'll be very curious to see how that kind of moves forward as well. Real quick before we jump out here for a break, I don't know if you saw The article that came out the other day, I found it kind of interesting. There's a Seattle-based company called Whoosh Innovations that has developed a machine that floats on a barge. They anchor it at the base of a dam in a river, and it transports fish over the dam. Did you check that out at all?
No, I didn't see that at all.
So it's kind of an interesting system. It draws the fish in. It's basically a fish trap. It uses water and air, and it basically propels these fish through a long tube, basically shoots them like up and over the dam.
Cool.
In a very slick, smaller diameter type tube. It uses air pressure and differences of pressure.
Right.
The cool thing is, within about a second and a half, the fish enters into the gate. It can scan, it can decipher whether it's hatchery or wild, species of fish, invasive species that they can then get rid of.
Wow.
But they can definitely sort and dispense those fish accordingly where they need to go. They have this thing anchored at the base of Chief Joe, which is one of the tallest, second to the tallest dams, with no fish ladder assistance built in or designed.
Right.
Now, we have talked previously on other shows about, you know, those that are in the camp of dam removal, and those are in the camp of, hey, have the engineers come back in and design fish ladders to get around some of these obstructions. The fish ladders are exhausting. They beat fish up fairly well and make them extremely tired.
Right.
It can take 2 to 3 days for them to navigate a fish ladder. It takes them, what did I read? As little as 25 seconds or something.
Wow.
Oh no, 25 feet in less than a minute.
Wow.
They can go 25 feet in less than a minute. So it propels them up and slides them down, gently releases them into the drink. Now, I had posted that up on our Facebook page. Thank you for all of you who chimed in. Some folks had been, a good number of folks are pro, saying this sounds like an amazing idea at a minimal cost. The company, Whoosh Innovations, is fronting the bill to anchor this thing, prove its worthiness to all those parties involved in fisheries management to say, hey, this thing will work. They're going to move fish up through the chute and over the dam, but they're going to catch them. They're not going to release any above the dam because they got to control, you know, the fisheries, and we're not to that point of just simply willy-nilly throwing fish over the dam and saying, hey, go do your thing. So it's going to be a controlled release that they are going to try to get. I don't know if it takes permitting or authorization, but they want to show how well this thing works. The tribes are interested. You know, government's interested, WDFW is interested, fishery management, and all those components combined. Yeah. They're curious if this thing's going to work. I read up on it. I watched videos. It's kind of unique. It's definitely where technology comes in at this point to say, hey, we do have a means of getting these fish back up to the spawning grounds that they haven't been for 50-some years.
Right. Well,
now,
makes sense. I mean, we can put a man on the moon. You think we can move
shoot a fish over a dam? That's it. We'll strap little rockets and laser beams.
I guess my question would be, which we probably don't know at this point, but can it handle the capacity of like a fall Chinook run? You know, I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of fish.
Hopefully.
Can it handle it? Yeah. And on some days, 10,000 fish in a day. Mm-hmm. You know? So
if we get back to how things should be, that could be interesting. You know, I'm waiting to see where this thing goes. They've had this thing for a number of years. They've been advocating to all those to try and get them to listen. Management, WDFW, tribal. They've been trying to influence these folks and say, hey, give us a chance.
Right.
Let us show you what we can do. Now, there are a few folks in the other camp that say, one gentleman posted on, I forget his name, sorry, but he posted up to say this was tested, I believe, on the Yakima. It beats the fish up. It de-slimes them, making them susceptible to bacteria and infections and things like that.
Right.
Lower survivability once they get through it and, you know, kind of get their bearings straight and get upriver. It comes down to that type of encounter and what truly percentage of those fish go on to spawn.
Right.
It's kind of like recreational fishing, catch and release. We intervene, we have an encounter, we catch that fish, maybe it's caught a second time, you release it. There's no guarantee he or she is going to truly spawn because they've been disturbed in their migration.
Right.
And it kind of throws them off kilter. So this is kind of a unique situation. If you don't know what we're talking about, go to our Facebook page, give us a like if you haven't, and read the article and watch the video. The video is pretty compelling in how it actually pushes these fish up and over the dam. I'm curious to see if they're going to move forward with the testing on it.
Right.
And I'd like to see the results on that. But
right, and my thing about, so if the dam has no impassable way for a fish to get around it, even if 1% of the fish you shoot over the dam with this contraption survive and spawn, isn't that a win?
The other side of that is then how do they get down? Right. Right. So
That's
then
true.
what's the other side of that? That is like, okay, the untold story is, well, now we got all these smolt. We're doing great. We're, our spawner recruitment is off the charts. We got all these smolt swimming around on the backside of the dam. How do we get them down the river?
Pretty awesome landlocked Chinook fishery, if you ask me.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not complaining. Speaking of Upper Columbia, August 1st, before we get out of here because we're running out of time, August 1st, they are opening up Brewster Pool for Chinook retention. No sockeye. Numbers are way too low. But you are going to have a Chinook fishery above Brewster. A lot of guys are getting on social media, letting everybody know. Our buddy Jared Gibbons is to say, hey, book trips, Sam will probably be up there too. Those guys, they have that dialed. Brad Wagner, if you want to catch some Chinook up there at Brewster, and they will hold the Derby up there this year too. They'll have that Derby in August, so maybe we'll check that out and see if we don't drag a boat over and maybe enter into that. But doggone it, as we get into this show further on, the fishing on the Sound is absolutely ridiculous in certain areas. David got out today, a bunch of other guys got out today. We missed the opener because we're doing this. But that being said, going fishing tomorrow. Okay, we got a ton of fishing to talk about. Don't go anywhere because we are going to be salmon. We're going to get into the bait lab later on. I'm going to show you how to make that quick release on your 360 flasher for about 25 cents a piece.
Awesome.
This is a game changer. I'm telling you, you're going to probably like this little trick that I show you. But before we get there, we are about 5 minutes behind. We're going to jump out for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be in the kitchen with Chef Kelly and Sherry, Korean seafood noodle stew. Sounds a little spicy, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Okay?
Yeah,
so
we'll try it.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. All right, don't go anywhere. Jump out for a quick break. We'll be right back here on FHM.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in the kitchen again this week with Chef Kelly, and I believe we have somewhat of a stew.
Yes, we have a Korean seafood noodle stew.
Noodles.
Yeah, noodle stew. And my best friend is Korean, and he kind of inspired me to kind of revisit Korean food. And so I've been working on this one a little bit for the summer.
Yeah.
And this is a delicious one. I was like, I want to share this. So,
all right.
Okay. So one important point of this one is the Korean chili flakes. You can get these in bulk at your Asian market. At your Asian market.
It's going to be a spicy stew.
Yeah, right? It's flying everywhere.
Right. Make sure we pick that up before Wilson gets out here, and little doggy might be a little spicy.
He's a spicy meatball. Okay, so we're utilizing our our leftover scraps. We have some leftover lingcod scraps, you know, the tail pieces and stuff. Got some halibut over here. Got some squid. I dug up some clams and some mussels. Make sure you clean your mussels. Mine were really, really like barnacle-y, and of course they have
barnacle.
Yeah, they have beards on them. These little. This one I can get. This one. That's a beard. That's what how they attach to the rock or wherever they're at.
Learn something new every day with you.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay. Then the vegetables we're going to be using today is some leeks. We got some julienne leeks here. Make sure you rinse them because they can be sandy. We got some carrots, julienne, some celery, julienne. I got some green onions I cut in thirds. This is half of a yellow onion. And I've got some baby bok choy. I kind of V-cut out the core. So.
No, my sister's name is Julianne.
Oh, yeah? All right, so we're going to start right now. So we got a little bit, we got a hot pan here.
All right.
Okay. Okay, this is going to be a really hot pan, so this is going to go quick. So.
That's a whole lot of garlic.
About 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons, okay.
And ginger is very, very strong.
Right.
So. Okay, then we're going to add our Korean chili flakes. We're going to start with 2 solid tablespoons. Now you're just saying, oh man, that's a lot. That's actually not a lot.
It's
add a little bit of oil. It's not.
Okay, I'll trust you.
Okay.
Ooh, that's going. So quick.
Well, this is the kind of the base of our stew, is that it has a lot of chili flakes. So we're gonna add all this in there, all of our vegetables. We're gonna saute this up. Okay.
Except for the bok choy.
Except for the bok choy. Okay.
Bok choy.
Okay,
Awesome.
so over here in this pan here, actually this one here. So I went bottom fishing the other day, and I got some sea bass, and so I saved their carcasses, and because I was like, oh well, I'm going to save them for crab bait, and I was like, wait a minute, I should make some fish stock with it. So you know, we made our own fish stock. This is just some carrots.
So this is fresh.
Fresh sea bass, but you can freeze your carcasses and use that too. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, absolutely. So
For crab bait too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've got some celery,
carrots, and onions. You know, the French will say that that's the mirepoix. That's the Cajuns call it the Holy Trinity. That would be carrots, celery, onions, and bell pepper. The French have the mirepoix, which is their Holy Trinity, which is those things. That's their common denominator. They have in a lot of things. Okay, so then I added a little bit of kombu to my fish stock.
And what is that?
So this is your kombu. This is dried kelp. So I just added like a 3-inch strip to my fish stock.
Okay.
Okay.
We just got that at the Asian market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so. Okay, so we're going to add a second addition of chili flakes. We're going to add another tablespoon, so in total 3 tablespoons so far. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then, so now we're going to add our fish. So we're adding our lingcod here, our halibut. Absolutely. Okay, and then
throw it all in.
Yeah, throw it all in, and then our bok choy. We're just gonna arrange it like that. So just kind of poke it down in there so that it's kind of slightly covered.
Man, I wish people could smell these.
Right.
Ugh.
Okay, and so our seasoning is going to come from salt. So we're gonna add a little bit of salt. Then we're gonna add some fish sauce. This is also our salt level too. Okay. I'm gonna say that's about 2 tablespoons of fish sauce.
Okay.
So we're gonna reserve, we're gonna hold back a little bit, and then we're gonna season to taste.
For the salt.
Right, for the salt. Okay, so there you go. So that's gonna need to like simmer for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
Until our fish is almost done.
And then you add, like, you have squid here still to go, because they don't take very long.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just got a little simmer time right now.
Okay. Well, I guess while we simmer that down, we will go ahead and shoot it back to you guys in the studio.
That looks potentially to be a little spicy.
Yeah.
You like spicy?
Yeah, a little bit. Not burn your mouth off hot, but I like a little spice.
Well, we'll see. It's got about everything under the sun in that thing with all types of seafood and plenty of veggies. So, all right, we'll let that stew away. And while we do, David's going to dial up Sean Finney on the phone, president of South King County chapter of PSA. We're going to talk to him about the up-and-coming PSA Derby. Barnum, it's the 18th annual Derby. They run out of Point Defiance. We're going to go fish that this next weekend because why not? It's going to be sunny. It's going to be great. There's fish around. And we're going to kind of dial that in with Sean. First, we're going to jump out for a break. So we come back. Sean Finney, PSA 18th Annual Derby right here on FHM.
At Metal Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals. So we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
That's not a good joke. I don't like you. Welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. David kind of giving us a little stress on top of the already stressful event this evening. Anyway, hey, there's a derby coming up.
Yep.
August 3rd. There's also a Washington State waterfowls calling competition, the state championship, which we'll talk about a little later in the show. Lots going on that weekend, as well as the following weekend, the 10th, which I forgot to mention earlier, but we'll get back to that.
Right.
We got a little show coming up that we want to preview. Anyway, big derby coming up, 18th annual for the South King County PSA chapter. Well attended, going to be right out there at Point Defiance. President Sean Finney joining us on the phone this evening. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing pretty good, Dwayne. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. First and foremost, you get out fishing today?
I did not. I chose to work today and let all the crazy guys get out there, and I might try to hit it this weekend one day.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, as we know, we got areas 9 and 10 open now, and for the short stint that we'll see, maybe 4 days on 9, and we have yet to see what 10 will unfold to be, but definitely lots of Chinook getting caught today, and previously to the retention opportunity. You know, a lot of guys catching and releasing Chinook as they're going after them coho. How do you think the Derby's going to perform? We're covering areas 10, 11, and 13 for the Derby. What are you anticipating? Think it's going to show a fair amount of fish?
Well, I think it's going to be a great Derby, number one. I want to thank everybody, all the sponsors and volunteers for helping put it on this year. The main thing I think this year is everybody was kind of on pins and needles, wondering if we were going to have a season, but it looks like the state's going to work with everybody and try to make sure we go into a little bit of August, which will help. I think the fishing's going to be good. There's been some big fish caught here recently in the last few days in Area 11, and I saw a mid 20-pound fish, probably 24 to 26, come out of Area 13. I would get out there first light, though. I think it's going to be an early thing. If you're going to get a big fish, I think it's going to be right at first light, and I think a fish over 22 wins this year.
Oh, that's a pretty good sized fish, Barnum.
How many participants are you expecting in the Derby?
Well, the last couple of years, we've been averaging about 375 to 400 tickets sold. This year, it could be a wild one with people waiting. You know, we've been selling Derby tickets every day online. You can find them at all the major retailers here, including the Point Defiance Boathouse. They've got tickets for sale, but we're gonna sell tickets right up to 6 a.m. at the launch there in Point Defiance. I myself will be selling tickets up till 6 a.m. The weigh-ins open at 8, and they close at 1. So I'm expecting a good turnout. We've got some great prizes this year, great sponsors. I want to give a shout-out to GAFCO Roofing and Construction out of Bonnie Lake. They're our new title sponsor this year. Thanks for stepping up, and it's great. It's going to be a great time.
Nice. So tickets are $35 for adults. Kids 14 and under fish for free. Weigh-in opens at 8 a.m., closes at 1 p.m., as you mentioned. That all takes place right there at the Point Defiance Boathouse. Is that correct?
Correct. We'll have weigh-ins at Des Moines at the Touch and Go dock. Our main weigh-in will be at Point Defiance, where the prize ceremony will be held at 3 p.m., and then we have some guys down at Tacoma Narrows that'll be weighing fish in there. So you have to be in line by 1 o'clock, no later. We're going to weigh the fish in whole. And if you want to choose to clean them out right after that, you can. You can bring them in bled if you want. If you got a big fish, though, I'd weigh the thing in completely whole.
Sure.
And it's going to be a barber. I really think we're going to see some big fish this year.
Yeah. Well, all indications are with folks proudly displaying their fish on social media for the last month or better part, you know, even some of those bigger fish that have been caught out in the ocean, but we're seeing some real nice fish. Kind of gives you, optimistic that the ocean conditions have turned around and we're seeing a healthier environment for these fish because they are coming in, as you mentioned, awful fat. Speaking of fat, let's get our wallet a little fatter. If we win first prize on this thing, what do we end up taking away?
$3,500 is the first place prize in this derby. And if you, by chance, are also a PSA member, you get an extra $500, which has happened in the past.
Wow.
You can do pretty well. If you don't get fortunate enough to get a cash prize, we got some great prizes. We got some Scotty Downrigger giving away VHF radio, Magda barbecue, lots of silver horde tackle, lots of rods that Sports Buzz helped us pick up. Just all kinds of good stuff. We'll probably have prizes up to 65 places. So, and that's that's a rough number. I think last year we did like 77, 78 prizes. We kind of went overboard, but you can weigh in a coho as well. Obviously, this is a Chinook Derby, but
Yeah.
a fish. We also have a mystery fish on weight. So anybody has a chance. We have an active retired vet first place. That's $500. We've got a great kids division. It's just going to be a great time. I want everybody to have fun this year. We'll have complimentary beverages, sodas, iced teas, and water at the weigh-in because the last couple of years it has been kind of warm. So we'll have refreshments for everyone coming off the water.
Now, this is part of the Northwest Salmon Derby Series. By purchasing your entry ticket or paying your entry fee into this derby, even if it's the only one you fish for the entire season, this qualifies you to win that boat, which is drawn for and given away at the Everett Cohort Derby end of the season, is it not?
Yes, you will be entered at the end of the Derby. We, with Mark Duwasa, who's part of the Northwest Marine Trade Association, everybody's names gets over to their group, and you get into the raffle for that Wildcraft boat, which is absolutely a beautiful boat.
Yeah.
I've actually seen them kind of toured around the Sound, Blackmouth a couple times. That thing is fully loaded. It's like almost a $70,000 value, and it is stacked with all kinds of goodies.
Wow.
Somebody's going to. I'm not fishing this Derby. I'm not even entered in the ticket drawing, but I would love somebody to win it from the South Sound.
That would be nice. Yeah.
The lane up north, but I think we're due for somebody on the south end to win that boat, and I would just be tickled to see somebody win it.
That'd be pretty awesome. Let's talk about first-time entrants, folks that want to come out. Maybe they have not put a lot of time in around Point Defiance area or South Sound Area 13. Or, I mean, if they're going to fish Area 10, great. Just got to make it back down to Point Defiance in time or Edmonds to get your way in. What are some points of, I don't know, give them a little bit of, steer them in the right direction, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Give them some ideas of fishing that Area 11 around Point Defiance and whatnot. If they haven't done it before, you can help them out a little.
Okay, I'll be glad to help the folks out. First of all, get there early. I always have believed that the south end fish is really good right when it's the first light, especially when there's a lot of pressure. Get there early, have a couple rigs ready to go. I'd probably come right out of the gate with either a Pro Troll lighted flasher or even a Gibbs flasher with maybe a glow stripe on it.
Mm-hmm.
That way you're fishing. Oftentimes you start off with glow in the morning and then work your way to UV. I'd probably come right out of the gate with a little bit of both on my line. I'm going to use a coho killer probably, or an ace-high fly, and I'm going to run about a 42-inch leader on the nose of that lure to the back of the flasher, and I'm gonna be very, very picky how I run that thing. I like to run myself about 20 feet behind the rigger. I know guys pull it close to the cannonball. You got to remember, the further you get out there, the bigger swoop that flasher is going to go. About 18 to 20 feet is a good number.
Yeah.
You've got to put a dab of scent on there. I'm not gonna load it up with a lot of scent. I'm gonna have it on a 25-pound leader, probably fluorocarbon, especially in the ocean. I don't think it matters, but the deeper you get in the Sound, I really do like fluorocarbon leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They're trickier to tie, but I think it's worth the extra step, especially when there's a lot of pressure. The fish get they see a lot of stuff coming down the pipe at them.
Right.
But it's first light fishery. There's a lot of good places, the clay bank, flag pile. I kind of think the big fish is going to come out of Three Tree or Beale, somewhere up in there. So if you feel like running, kind of run north out of there if the water's good, run up there. But I think Three Tree has been a producer of big fish, always has. Last year maybe not so much, but another thing you could do is slide over by the Gig Harbor side. There's a couple little slots in there to fish early in the morning. But I would, if everybody's not feeling real comfortable in Area 11, I would get on the internet, read a couple things. There's enough on there to be dangerous, but first light and have your stuff ready to go and just be there. That's the main thing. And you believe that you're going to catch something and be in the right spots. The Derby Day is not the day to try something brand new.
Yeah, maybe rely on what you have dialed in and feel confident. Confidence is everything, Sean. And for guys that have fished it periodically or get in there a couple times a year, hey, just go with what you know, and hopefully you find a bigger fish than the other guy. So, hey, appreciate you taking time this evening to give us a little insight on this derby. You guys do a great job with this thing. It's nice local derby here in South Sound. Love to see that. Gives us opportunity to not have to drive so far up north. We're going to definitely jump in on this one. We're going to also fish the Everett Coho Derby, and we'll see if we can't squeak one more in there in between. But doing a great job. Look forward to seeing you Saturday morning, and hopefully we got some fish we can bring to the table and weigh in for you.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys having me on the show tonight. Keep continuing the good work, and get your Derby tickets. We'll see you on August 3rd.
You got it. All right, buddy. Take care.
All right.
Sean Finney, President, South King County PSA. Great folks up there. I've gone up there over the years, done a handful of different presentations for those guys. They even had us come up there and talk about the show before we kicked it off here. They're all, hey, they're fishermen, men and women, and they want to know what we got going on, and we tried to be insightful and, you know, pull them in when we can. That's what we're all in this for, helping each other out, and everybody learns. So get your tickets, get online, go to most tackle outlets. I know you get down there at Sportco. I believe they even have them up there in Seattle Outdoor Emporium, because those folks up north want to come down and fish this area. You know, you're going to have probably 400 entrants into that derby, but don't let that scare you away. Right. Weather's going to be nice. Water's going to be calm. I haven't checked the tides out yet, David, for that, but I'm sure we'll delve into that here in the next couple of days. Get some practice in. You still got time. Get your tickets, $35, and the money goes towards great causes. And, of course, you may qualify to win that boat. Yep. You know, so, okay, we're going to jump out for a real quick break. We come back. Our buddy, long lost buddy Dave Calhoun, Northwest Rods, is going to join us. He has relocated his rod company. He's got a grand opening coming up this Saturday from 10 a.m. till, I believe, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I'll check on that. I'll let him tell us that. Doesn't matter. Anyway, he makes some fantastic rods. I have a handful of his rods in my gear room on the other side of the wall here, and fish them proudly. They're a finely built rod. He does a very good job. His customer service is second to none. We're going to let Dave get on, tell you all about it right here on FHM when we come back from this short break. Welcome back to Fish on Northwest. Thanks for hanging on through the break there. I see plenty of folks still tuning in. Barnum, over the years, I fished a handful of different rods. Right. Had, I don't know, opportunity to fish with a handful of different companies and just, you know, trying. But I tell you what, one guy in particular, and Dave and I have known each other a very long time. He likes to put a little personal touch into the rods he builds. He actually builds his custom blanks. It's hard to find a rod that can completely, they can say, built in America, built in USA right here in our backyard. Northwest Rods happens to be one of those, and Dave has relocated to a new location, has a grand opening coming up this Saturday the 27th. Dave, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule getting ready for your grand opening. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, pal.
Absolutely. So I know for certain you've put a number of your fishing rods into my hand and said, go fish this, let me know what you think. And I have yet to find one that I was not satisfied with. You build a wide variety of rods, and now you've relocated. Let's talk about some of the deals you got coming up for folks showing up about 10 a.m. on Saturday to come see what you have.
Well, one of the things that I'm kind of becoming famous for are my kokanee rods.
Yeah.
Mainly because, you know, there's not kokanee all over the world. We really have the kokanee market cornered here in the Northwest. And as much as I do fish that fishery, I wanted to make something that was a little bit different. But you said it earlier, the American-made. To have an American-made kokanee rod for $99 and sell it all day long like that, I mean, that's a big deal. And when people go out and fish this rod, it's not just the same rod with a different label. I mean, that's the key. Is this rod is specifically designed, whether we're using downriggers or whether we're flatlining for kokanee. And I've got probably 50 people in the general area that are just killing it on these kokanee rods. And to keep it $99, have an American-made rod, that's a big deal. I mean, I'm one of the few American-made rod companies out there now. I don't import any of my blanks. Everything's all built woodland. I finish them in Kalama and moving to this new shop, which is right off I-5 at Exit 32. I mean, you can see the Kalama River from my parking lot. That's how close I am to my favorite place.
Are you going to be able to increase your inventory in this new location? Is it a larger location for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Originally I had launched a little location downtown Kalama, and I mean little, it was very small. And this new building is about 6 times as big.
Yeah.
So I have plenty of room to grow, which is kind of what's been keeping me from doing that. Space and some things that have happened in the last few months. We bought another company that decided they wanted to change gears, and so we have more mandrels, we have more ovens, we have more rolling tables. I mean, it completely expanded what I build as far as the blanks that I have to offer, the models that I have, and the materials that I'm using. These are truly different rods. And so what I try to do is make a specific rod for a specific fishery, like our twitching jig. You know, we like to do that up in the peninsula and down in the Grace Harbor area, but we like to do that down here in the Kalama, Lewis, Cowlitz area too. So I build a specific rod for twitching jigs, whereas that rod doesn't make sense to anybody and anywhere else in the United States.
Right. So what kind of deals can folks anticipate? I mean, is everything that you make going to have a significant price break on it? You know, you got kokanee rods. I know you have bass and walleye rods. You have your scorpion rod, which is specific for fishing pearl trolls or 360 flashers. Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into the types of rods folks can come down and put their hands on.
Well, exactly. And the date of this sale is no surprise that it's right before Buoy 10.
Yeah,
and
good
so
point.
Everybody that's going out there, and I'll tell you what, all the reports I've getting are great. The coho has been just off the hook out in the ocean, and when these guys want to run these pro trolls, the rod that I build, this scorpion rod, is completely different from everything else on the market. The way the material recoils with a pro troll, instead of just whipping back and forth, like a standard 10-6 like trolling rod, this thing has backbone to it, and it loads up at one speed and whips back faster in the recoil, which makes the pro troll whip at a different rate. And I'm telling you, it just makes those fish, it increased how many fish I catch. And that's the only rod that I've ever built that I can say that actually has increased the amount of hookups that I get. Now, what happens once they're on? Well, that's on you.
Yeah, good point. Well, and you know, barbless hooks, unless we're back in that Columbia now, we don't need to use them necessarily. So there, you know, maybe our hookup to land ratio is going to go up. But you designed that rod to do specifically what you just had mentioned, and I can tell you at firsthand, you put a lot of countless hours in fishing a standard type rod next to your scorpion rod, just in fact to watch the action that it puts onto that Pro Troll or 360-degree flasher, and you basically documented how often that particular rod would outfish its nearest competitor just based on the rod itself. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and so that rod took me about 2 years to figure out. And what's the key about that rod? It's a 9-foot one piece, which is great for everything except for transporting.
Right.
It's a huge pain in the butt for you to put that in your car. You can't just fold it in half and throw it in the truck. So that's one of the reasons why you've got to come to my shop and get these 9-foot Scorpion rods. The way it whips, the action in this tip, since you don't have a ferrule, you don't have a flat spot in that rod.
Right.
So there's nothing to keep that whip from just recoiling and whip. Now I make a 2-piece and I make a 10-6 2-piece with that material, and are they good? Yes. But they are not as good as the 1-piece 9-footer. And I have tons of those rods that are going to be on sale in the shop. I know they're going to blow out here because it's right before buoy 10. But that rod, and then I came up with a lighter version for the guys that want to run fish, flash, and herring, that want to run spinners and stuff, and they don't need that recoil of a 360 flasher. It's got a chewier tip, but it's the same parabolic, it's the same Scorpion material, it's the same rod, just in a lighter, chewier tip for guys that want to run herring and anchovies and that type of thing.
Gotcha.
Right.
And now that rod, you say Pro Troll, but that rod will specifically work for any design 360 flasher. I mean, hotspot, Gibbs. I mean, just whichever flasher you may want to roll with it.
Absolutely. See, I mean, we get set in what we know and
Short
what
bus.
we use all the time, and yeah, there's all these different flashes. Well, all these flashes work different.
Right.
So let's consider you got your Pro Trolls, your short bus, you got Leo flashes, all these different ones. They all work at a different speed. So tuning to the right one, as long as I have the same 4 rods out and the same 4 flashers out, I'm going to be able to get these things tuned by watching that tip and that 1/1000 and that whip that you want. It'll whip any flasher. But if I'm running, let's say, one brand at 2.2 and another brand at 1.7, they're operating different. One's whipping faster, one's whipping slower. You're going to find one that's going to work better at a certain speed, and that's the one you want to try and dial in.
Sure.
So I can put a different brand flasher on, and I can take it down to 1.2, 1.3, and still get the flash. I may not be getting the whip that I want, but that's all where you kind of tune in all your gear and set up your weights and make sure. The other thing is with these rods, you got to have at least minimum 8 ounces of weight. If you don't have 8 ounces of weight, 8 to 16 or even 20, you're not giving enough weight for an anchor spot for that flasher to whip. If it's bringing the weight up out of the water column, and instead of just keeping it there and letting that flasher whip the way you want it, then you're not actively, effectively fishing that flasher and whatever you have behind it.
Yeah, good point. Well, hey, we had talked about it. So you have this sale going on. How about for folks that are watching it here tonight or watch it tomorrow, and by the time they get down there Saturday morning after 10 a.m., if they say that they listened to us or watched us on FHN, how much more percentage of discount are you willing to give on some of those rods?
10% off of the sale price.
10% off the sale price if they come in and say, hey, I heard you or watched you on FHN, I want my damn deal.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, they just say, hey, I saw it on Fish Hunt Northwest, and I came down to take a look at your stuff, and I mean, I got 500 rods in inventory.
Yeah.
So I got one of everything.
You've been busy. Dave's been a busy boy, tying rods and getting things ready to go. So.
And it's only going to get busier. We are expanding like crazy, and we're trying to make some good things happen for fishermen here in the Northwest.
Right. Well, and I appreciate you donating a couple rods back to us. I'm going to talk about that here once we kick you loose. A couple kokanee rods we're going to be giving away in the very near future. So I'll be down Saturday to pick those up. And don't let me forget to get that butt cap off of my downrigger rod from you so I can come back and glue that on. So anyway.
Absolutely. And just tell everybody, if they go to the NW Rods page, Northwest Rods Facebook page, it has the address and the hours on there if they want to try and figure out how to get here.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to continue to be open, following this big grand opening.
Right.
Weekdays for people and on the weekends and stuff. But this is going to be a big sale.
Okay, good point. Go to Dave's Facebook page, Northwest Rods Facebook page. It has the address of his new location, it has shop hours, so you can continue to shop there even after the sale's over. But first and foremost, so you have the address to find it on Saturday. Open the doors at 10 a.m. I'll be down there, and come pay a visit, and we'll hang out for a while and say hi to folks looking to get that extra 10% off for anybody that walks through the door says they watched it here on Fish Hunt Northwest. So, all right, buddy, thanks for taking some time. Always good to talk to you, and good luck with your new location. I'll be seeing you on Saturday.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right, buddy, take care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you know, it may sound like just kind of, it sounds like a gimmick. His Scorpion rod,
Right.
I was literally working the last couple of years with him at the Sportsman Show down there in Portland. And folks would come in droves looking for the Scorpion rods. And guys and gals that had fished them flat out said, these things, the way he designs that rod, the taper and the action of the tip midway from the blank on up, and then the stiffness he puts in the butt end of that thing to make it so it doesn't whip. So it has the ability to have this certain cadence that it puts on those 360s that just your standard rod doesn't do that.
Right.
And I don't know, he is not lying. He put in 2 years researching and developing, and he wanted to make something. And I tell you, it puts fish in the boat. So he'll have them on sale. Buoy 10 fisheries coming up. A lot of guys are rolling 360 flashers down there at Buoy 10 now last couple of years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a thing. We've been doing it in Puget Sound forever, but it's the new hotness when you get down there in the old Buoy 10s and all the other fisheries up the Columbia River.
Right.
Dave builds a fantastic fishing rod. So with that, he is donating 2 kokanee rods that we, my friend, will be giving away at our live event scheduled for August 10th. Write this down. We'll be putting some information on our Facebook page here in the near short, and we're going to make sure we remind you for the next couple weeks. August 10th, 1 p.m. at Sportco. They kick off their August big 3-week tent sale on Friday evening, the 9th. The next day on the 10th, Saturday, is always a madhouse. It's packed. Great deals going on, lots of things happening, and we are going to be there front and center on the floor setting up our portable studio. We'll have in-studio guests. We'll do our full 2-hour format. We're going to have some how-to stuff that we're lining up. Going to have a cooking segment with Chef Kelly there in person, and of course his lovely assistant Sherry. Going to be cooking some salmon. Phenomenal recipe he's got slated for this show down there at Sportco. So you want to make sure you come in. We're going to have raffles, items to give away, because we'll take our commercial breaks as we always do during that time. If you're sitting there in the seats, have your raffle ticket, you're going to win some fantastic stuff. More on that next week as this whole thing comes together. But I'm telling you, why wouldn't you want to go to Sportco anyway? I believe Hot Dog Lady will be there, as she always is, and lots going on. Great deals. Get purchasing your fall hunting attires, because you're going to need them.
It is right.
It's right there.
Yes.
So again, we are there August 10th, 1 p.m. We'll be down there earlier in the day, hanging out, just talking, and kind of hanging out, having a good time. Grab bags for all those that come in and take up a seat, and then raffle items throughout the entire show. Going to be a really fun event. Hope to see a lot of folks down there. Hit us up on Facebook if you got questions about that, but we are going to make this the first time that a show or an event is live streamed from Sportco. So not only live in front of you as the audience, we're going to live stream this thing on YouTube and Facebook as we always do. Going to be a really fun event. We got our sound stuff figured out, I think, from our Waco testing ground. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a good time. Okay. Got to jump out for a quick break. Coming back, we are back in the kitchen for the final touches on the Korean seafood noodle stew with Chef Kelly and Sherry. Going to get to that right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest in the Kitchen with Chef Kelly, and we are putting the finishing touches on our Korean seafood noodle stew.
Hi.
Look at that.
That was awesome. Okay, guys, so to finish this off, we're just going to add our calamari in at the last second here. We're just going to tuck it in there.
Hey, and that's that squid you...
I jigged up. Yeah, in December.
You really did go through all your stuff.
Oh, well, no, I still have spot shrimp. I still have razor clams. I still have a bunch of stuff in here.
Spot shrimp would sound good in this.
Yes, absolutely. You can use spot shrimp here, but I would add it in just like I am with the calamari because, you know, overcooked spot shrimp is garbage. They kind of get mealy. They get just bad. Just bad.
Don't you eat it raw?
No. Yeah, I eat them raw. I mean, a lot of high-end chefs, they do like a spot shrimp crudo, they'll call it. And they'll maybe put some olive oil, some French sea salt, and like, oh, it's crudo. And it's like, okay, it's raw, dude. They're still delicious.
Fancy name.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave that up to you guys to have that.
Okay, so we have some fresh noodles here that we cooked just ahead of time. We boiled them. These ones happened to be just boiled for like a minute and a half, and they were done. We rinsed them in cold water, but all different. Some, these fresh noodles are different. Some boil longer. Some you can just stir fry.
Okay, and those are like a wheat noodle?
Yeah, these are a wheat noodle.
Okay,
so these are cold, but the broth is hot, so it'll bring it up to temp right there. So we'll probably add like about that much right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's it.
Yes, beautiful.
Yes. And if you went to the Korean market right now, or Korean restaurant right now, they would serve it to you just like this. They would have a great big pan of this.
Oh, just right at the table?
Just right at the table, and you kind of serve yourself, kind of a deal. It's just the way it is. I love it. I love that kind of style of community food kind of thing. So there you go.
I kind of like you plating it up for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One time I get to have you do something for me. Yeah.
So we'd add our juice in there, just like that. All this halibut in there. Got some mussels. Got some clams. A little spicy. Got some baby bok choy right here.
Bok choy.
Just
I don't know why I like saying that so much, but
right, it's kind of a fun name to say. Okay. So let's sort of clean this up a little bit. Okay. A little bit of green onions too. Like that.
A little more green onions.
More green onions?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
All right.
Make it your own, right?
Yep.
Here, take that. Okay, and then I just have some enoki mushrooms here. These are nice. Enoki mushrooms here.
Okay, what are those?
Yeah, like a, I don't know, like a really fine, almost grass-like mushroom. You eat them raw, and it's just kind of cool looking too.
Yeah.
So there you go. If you like it spicy, guys, definitely try my Korean seafood noodle stew. Play with any kind of seafood that you want. There's no true rule about what seafood goes in it. Today we did sea bass, lingcod, calamari, clams, mussels, but yeah, it could be anything.
Okay.
So yeah, and you can also dial down the spice level too. I think we topped out at 3 tablespoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably up there around a 7 out of 10. So you could probably dial it down.
All right. Well.
You like that?
This is all mine. All mine.
Here you go.
All right. Okay. While we dig in, we're going to go ahead and shoot it back to you guys in the studio.
Looks like Sherry is not having it. She is like, that is all mine. I'm going to eat this entire bowl.
Right? It looks amazing.
Oh my gosh, there's so many different flavors in there. I can't imagine. Chef, I tell you what, he knows how to get something out of everything.
Right.
It's not saying like use your finest cuts of your halibut and your lingcod, take those tail sections and kind of dice those up, make them into a stew. So fantastic stuff. We got Nathan on, dude. We're good. So hey, so before we're not doing weather this week,
right?
Give me a weather report, Barnum.
Sun's out. Looks good. It's hot,
dusty out there. A little warm if you're out there working, but. To forego the weather, we're going to talk with Nathan Knighty. He's with the Washington Waterfowl Association as a board member. He's the sanctioned chairman for the Washington State Waterfowl Calling Competition coming up also on August 3rd. Starting to stack the deck here. August 3rd is a busy day.
Yeah.
This is the annual state waterfowl callers competition held in Sumner at the Sumner Sportsman's Club. Nathan, we got you on. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, you bet. So tell us a little bit about this competition. It is now held at the Sumner Sportsman's Club. How long has it been housed there, and what can folks expect if they come out to this to simply watch and learn?
Well, it's been held at the Sumner Sportsman's Club now for, I think, going on about 10 years. I'm the sanctioned chairman and have been for the last 2 years. And anybody can attend. It's there's a youth duck category, there's a novice duck category, open goose category, and also the sanctioned duck category as well. And guys can either show up at 10 a.m. that's when the registration starts and the competition starts at 11. So guys can come in at 10 and register, or they can call us to pre-register. And they can either call Troy Taylor at 206-406-0831, or they can call myself at 253-229-5794. And it's going to be just a day filled with awesome duck callers. There's going to be a silent auction, a live auction as well. And we got some great prizes going to be given away, some shotguns, decoys, fishing trips, hunting trips. Leopold donated a spot and scope and a nice Vari X2 rifle scope. So it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of great prizes to be won, and hope to see everybody out there.
So the competition starts at what time for folks showing up? They want to just come sit and watch and take it all in, try to understand what this calling competition is all about. They want to bring the kids out just to, fun day in the sun and watch persons blowing these duck calls and goose calls. What times it start, and what time is each class then following?
The registration starts at 10 a.m. The competition starts at 11 a.m.
Okay.
An hour later. Yep. And it's free to come out and watch. If you want to register and compete, the youth 12 and under is free. Novice duck, 13 years and up, is $15. Open goose is any age, that's $30, and the sanctioned duck is $35.
How many participants do you expect to have in the competition this year, and do you have any perennial front runners that you're expecting a good showing out of?
We have roughly about 18 to 20 contestants usually.
Okay.
And Jonathan Knopp from Moses Lake, he's looking to probably do pretty good again this year. So I'm guessing might probably win the sanction. But I mean, you never know, because there might be a guy show up that you never heard of. And
right.
Lo and behold, he can hold his own with the duck call. So that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, kind of like America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
You just never know who's going to walk through the door. That's David's favorite show, by the way. Is Troy also one of the judges?
He is not. He's helping us out with scoring and taking in the scores and tallying all those up and whatnot. His good friend Rob Strong, he's one of our judges.
Yep, Robert Strong will be a judge. Troy Taylor's going to be down there, and if you want to get one of Troy's custom-made calls, talk to him. Maybe even get an opportunity to go out and visit him at his shop and take the tour and check out what he's got going on out there. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
The winner of this, Nathan, then qualifies for a national competition held where? Let folks know what that's all about and how they what they win to help them out as far as getting on the road to get there and compete.
Okay, so the sanction category is would be the professional level. The winner of that wins $1,000 check, and that goes towards travel to Stuttgart, Arkansas for Thanksgiving weekend to compete in nationals.
Awesome. Well, hopefully folks will take opportunity if they're not fishing the Derby out there at Point Defiance and they got not a whole lot else going on there in that Sumner area. It's always fun to come out and watch, especially these youth compete in a duck calling competition. It's not like anything you've heard before if you've never heard an actual competition. If you were to hear that individual show up at the duck blind in the morning, yeah, they would probably get shot. So that's how well it works. But anyway, it's always a fun event to attend. Lots going on, lots to see and do and learn. And like to see the kids come out because that's definitely the future. So good luck to all participants. And thanks so much for taking this all on again, Nathan, and putting it together. I know it's a ton of work for you, but you do a great job.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, guys, for having me.
You bet. Take care. Have a good night. Anyway, always something going on in the outdoors in the Northwest. And this is the Washington State Callers Championship.
Yeah, it's a
this
big
is
deal.
the best of the best. They come from all over to compete, hopefully to vie for that championship win here in Washington State. A good buddy Robert Strong has won it time and time again. Previous shows that I did, he was in studio and doing that, and just, you know, it's amazing the lung capacity it takes to do that call sequence for competition. It's like nothing else. And if you've never seen it and have no real solid plans for August 3rd in the afternoon, I'm telling you, take the kids out. They'll be kind of thrilled with what they see and what they hear. So before we jump out for a break here, Barnum, I want to re-mention that our live show at Sportco is August 10th, 1 p.m. Lots going on there, and we'll continue to put information up on our Facebook page. I'll also remind folks, go to our Facebook page. I've posted up a competition giving away a free hat of your choice and a sticker or a decal simply by posting what day you think Area 10 is going to close when we hit the quota. And later in the show, we're going to talk with Matthew Messings, and we're going to find out exactly how that's fishing out there today. But Area 10 is up against the quota. It'll fish longer than Area 9, but what day you think it'll close? You also need to rally your folks to tell them to get to our page, give us a like. They need to post their name and you as the person who sent them there. They also need to give us a subscription on our YouTube channel. There's 3 components there. It's really not that difficult. Simply go to that thread, look for our giveaway. Basically, it's about Area 9, Area 10. Closure on Area 10, what day that'll be, and then post your name, like our page, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Person that gets the most people that likes our page or subscribes to our YouTube channel mentions your name. So like if, Barnum sent me. Right. Barnum sent me. That guy is going to get the free goods. And that'll be awarded by noon on Sunday. Sweet. So, any confusion on that?
No.
Okay, pretty straightforward.
I understand it.
Well, if I can get him to understand it, get to our Facebook page and make it happen. Let's go. All right, we're going to jump out for a break. We come back. A lot of folks have been asking me about this. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there and share it. I might piss off some manufacturers. I don't care. It's simple. For all you diehards that are still fishing the standard 360 flasher, they work so well. Why wouldn't you? There is a great way to simply put a little addition on there. And I'm going to, full disclosure here, talking with Brandon Glass a couple of years ago, he showed me kind of a little rig he put on his, and I looked at that and went, oh, that's pretty interesting. And the whole drive home, I'm thinking, how can I make that thing? How can I build something that's similar to that mousetrap, but maybe in my mind make it a little better? And I played around with some stuff for a while, found a few components you can find at, believe it or not, Home Depot or Lowe's, and of course your tackle shop. You can put these components together, makes that 360 flasher become a breakaway flasher, which ultimately, as they say on the commercial made ones, fight the fish, not the flasher. Right. This does exactly that for pennies on the dollar. You're going to find out exactly how to do that when we come back right here on FHN.
the break of night, the pink skies waving goodbye. She come out the break of night, leaving no traces around. She's trying to free a reckless heart. She's trying to be as light as a breeze. The queen of art, Friday morning. The queen of art, Friday morning. She come out to break the night, as sweet as always. You come out to break the night, you'll be wearing her charm so frail. Yeah, she's trying to avoid everyone.
Hey, welcome back to FHN. We are obviously now here in the Bait Lab. We're going to talk about these flashers. You know, there's a lot of different options out there on the market. I mean, we have our Gibbs, we got our Pro Troll, we got our short bust flasher. I got my Hotspot. Let's see, I got my Silver Horde metal flasher. I mean, I have a lot of options. And or I can buy the manufactured breakaway style flasher, which has become so popular. Again, because the whole thing is you fight the fish, not the flasher. Well, I kind of like that idea because oftentimes when using rotators and or our 360 flashers and barbless hooks, you can have that moment where you go slack for a second, it goes the opposite direction of that flasher, and simply those hooks come out of that fish. Many fish have been lost simply because the fish changes directions and that flasher cuts in. Next thing you know, that fish is off. So disconnect that flasher, disengage that big looping rotation off of that thing. That way you're fighting a straight line from tip of rod to the hooks embedded into the jaw of that fish. And how do we get there? Well, we're going to make it real easy for you. I can take any one of these flashers, and a lot of them I have, and convert them into a breakaway for literally pennies on the dollar. So first and foremost, I'm going to go and purchase a few items that I need, okay? So when it comes to the needed equipment to make this happen, first you're going to walk into your Home Depot or your Lowe's, and you're going to find this basically 50 feet. I think you can get it in 25-foot rolls also, but it's so doggone cheap, $4.50. They're about 50 feet of 1/4-inch vinyl tubing. This is water line for irrigation systems, for your yards, for your hanging plants, for things like that. Works very well. It's got a 1/4-inch inside diameter, and this stuff is somewhat rigid but flexible, and it doesn't crack, and it works really well for the item I'm going to use it for. Next, you're going to find yourself some of these double connector sleeves. These are the crimp-ons. Slide the line through them, double it back on itself. Very popular, and use them in a multitude of different options. This is what I use to secure the 150-pound line that we're going to talk about in a second. You're also going to need a number of these size 3 barrel swivels, okay? Pretty simple. You can get them in a 100-plus pack. For I think this 144 pack, these Berkeleys were $9.50, $10 for way more than I probably need. But again, not very expensive when you're using 1 unit per flasher. Then I'm going to step up and find some 150-pound monofilament. This happens to be the Berkeley Big Game Trilene, 150-pound strength because of the diameter and the strength that I want to perform the task of what it is slated to do. So as I look at the flashers in front of me here, this Gibbs, you know, the one thing, there's a lot of commonalities and then there's differences in all these flashers. This Gibbs, this Pro Troll, this short bust, it's all about how they make these connections on the end of the flasher. Now, the one thing we want to remember is you got to make sure you orient it the right side up to make this work. The shovel end going down that you pull is what digs into the water to make this thing rotate. So make sure you build this on the back side of this flasher on the backside of that front shovel end that digs down to cause it to spin. The differences on these, a lot of them are secured in the front with a solid ring and some type of ball bearing swivel, pretty common. On the backside here, they do things a little bit different in how they connect their swivel and their clips. Short bus simply uses large oversized dual locks and ball bearing swivels, and down here they'll have a dual lock. They don't have any grommets on the inside. That doesn't matter, but you just have to figure out a way to change the dragging end of this rotator or this 360 flasher on where your presentation leader is going to connect, okay? And it's pretty simple to do that. Here's an example of a Silver Horde Gold Star. This is the trailing end of the end that we will hook the leader to, and they put that big nice barrel swivel on there, and then they have that twist on where you simply roll that swivel onto there, locks your leader in place. Pretty handy to simply switch out your presentation off the back end of that flasher. What I need to do is take a perfectly good flasher like that, and I'm removing that bottom piece. I want to leave this main barrel swivel, this large oversized barrel swivel on there that I can slide this tubing onto, and that begins the transformation. Now again, I'm taking a perfectly good tail end off of that thing and willfully cutting it off just so I can put this adapter piece on there. So how do I take each one of these and convert them into a breakaway flasher by using these simple components that we talked about? So looking at this hotspot, you'll see this is the ones I started with because they're the easiest to work with. You got your ball bearing swivel in your solid ring at the top end. Remember the face of this, the shovel end's down because that's your digging side. This is the heel of it that gives it a rotation. They go with a solid ring on the bottom end, barrel swivel simply to a lock clip. Very easy to convert this one as a starting point, and the rest of them you can figure out because you'll kind of duplicate this area right in here. So all we do is we take our hotspot, and I'm removing this clip off of that swivel. Okay, that gets taken away, so all I have is a swivel. I'm taking a piece of our tubing. Again, it's a 1/4 inch inside diameter, and you force it onto this oversized swivel. And I'm here to tell you, once it's on that piece of the swivel, that is not the part that's going to disconnect on you. That stays on there extremely well. You don't have to worry about that. Something else to think about too is that as these are working in the water and they're doing their rotation, okay, the pulling end on it is the front edge. That's where the tension on this device is. This trailer piece doesn't have to have a lot of strength to it as far as what it's holding presentation wise, and don't have to worry about it slipping out or falsely triggering because it's truly just dragging, you know, a spinner if you want to, but a hoochie, a small spoon, some type of, you know, you can drag bait behind them, obviously, lots of folks do, but the drag on this is not substantial enough that it's going to pop these things off. So you don't get a lot of false sets off of this thing because it does hold together pretty well. So I'm going to force that tube onto there. It's going to hold on that swivel just fine. Then I'm going to take the clip here. All right, I'm going to pick up one of my size 3 barrel swivels, and I'm going to put that on the clip. Okay, pretty simple. Now we're going to wedge this into your tubing. That size 3 fits into that 1/4 inch really well. That end of it right there is your release point. Okay, if you think about it, your leader is going to be clipped onto here with a barrel swivel going to your leader. This is the part that pulls out. And how do we make sure that it stays in contact with our main line that is connected to our swivel up here? It's simple. I'm going to take 15 inches of my 150-pound test. I'm going to grab one of my dual crimps and simply feed that on. Okay, now we're going to go through the ring on here. Okay, not the swivel. We're going to go through the ring just so it has a nice stable anchor point on that. Run that back through. Now I don't need to leave a lot of tail off of here coming out. This thing is not going to slip, and if I have that extra tail hanging out of there, that's just more to grab, just more to get in your way, more to get spun up. So we're going to get that right down nice and tight. take a majority of the loop out of that as well. You don't need it. It just needs to be snugged right up to it. Now I'm going to hold that, take a pair of pliers. I'm going to crimp on that nice and tight. I also like to take the die cutters on this thing and put a little extra crimp twice on that metal just to make sure it kind of bites into that line really good. Now don't push it too hard because you don't want to cut through there, but it puts a nice bite pattern into this thing. That is not going to come out. That's the first side of it, okay? That's anchored to that solid ring. That's not coming off. Now the next part of this, you're going to take another press-on dual sleeve here. Now the key point here, this is going to go through your release swivel. It serves no purpose if you hook it to this ring, to this swivel, somehow try to fashion it into here, which ain't gonna happen. You're looking for the eye that is forward. The reason I stick this in that tube first is so that I only have one eye exposed, and that's the one that it's gonna go in. Don't hook it to the clip, okay? It has to go into this swivel. So we're gonna put it through that swivel, and now just simply back on itself. Okay, get that in there. And again, I don't need a big tail hanging off of there. What I want to do is I want to measure this now. I usually cut 15 inches or so I have enough slack. Now if this is tight right now as it is, it's not going to pull out of this release, okay? You have to gauge this thing to make sure that you have slack in this system, all right? You have to allow the tension to be pulled at the swivel. And by doing that, that gives me the ability to stretch it past the keeper here. Again, if that's tight, then that's just pulling directly on that. That doesn't do anything. I have to extend it to where there's enough slack that when a fish hits your presentation off the end of this clip, it's going to pull that swivel out of that tube. So typically 15 inches on most of these. I found that 16 inches on your Silver Horde Gold Star metal flasher is going to do a better job. So now we're just going to crimp that one closed as well. Okay, and put a little crimp on there with my diagonal cutter portion. Again, I like that to bite in there really well. That's pretty much it. That's your jumper that goes from the front part of that shovel back to that connector piece. And when a fish hits this and basically rips and pulls line, especially if they change direction on you, okay, that is simply going to pull out of that piece. Now see, that all stays connected and hangs on the end. This is now your direct line to your main line and directly to your presentation, which happens to be buried in the jaw of a nice 25-pound Chinook. It doesn't take a lot to pull that out of there. It takes a pretty good pop to pull it out of there. Your small fish may not trigger it, but you're not going to have a lot of false releases also, which is nice because the false releases are a pain in the butt because you constantly got to bring gear in, bring your downrigger up, reset. I have found that that doesn't really happen with this method. That little tube, actually, when you drop that into Puget Sound, it actually tightens up a little bit because that water makes it cold and gets a little tighter there. So, and then to reset it, all I have to do is basically you have that swivel on there, the only end that's exposed. That swivel pops right back into that tube. You just set it in there, and there you are. That thing is set to go. Hook it to your mainline clip, hook your presentation on the end of that, put it out there, drop your downrigger, get that thing rolling, and when that fish hits and pops that sucker out of there, you're going to be fighting the fish and not the flasher. Pretty much works every time. I have yet to have a failure. And you may have a little investment here. You're going to have, $4.50 into your 50 feet of tubing, which will last you forever. I don't know how many you can make out of that because I gave David 15 feet of it, and he's yet to tell me how many he can make. These cramps don't cost all that much. Again, $10 for your 145 size 3 swivels. Can't remember the price on that Berkeley line. I've had it for a couple years. So do yourself a favor, little investment up front. You're going to make a ton of these things. You can build a release on every one of your flashers if you choose to do so. It's going to work fantastic. You don't have to pay 10, 12, 15 bucks for a single unit to put on your non-release flasher. Now you have a way to do it in your own garage. And as often said by a good friend of ours, more fish are caught in the garage than anywhere else on the planet, and I'm a believer in that. So hopefully that helps you out. A couple little bonus tips here for you that you can cheat the system and find a way to do it yourself. And let us know on our Facebook page or message us up. Let us know if you've converted them. Throw your pictures up there so we can see your artwork. And then I want to see the pictures of the fish you're catching with those release flashers when you get out on the water and find success. Okay, that'll do it for us here in the Bait Lab. We're going to jump back in the studio after this break. We're going to talk with Matthew Messing around fishing charters. Was out on the water today for the opener. Area 9, Area 10 had a pretty fantastic morning, is what I'm hearing. Curious to see what he has to say about how long that fishery will go and what we can anticipate on size of Chinook that's coming out of Area 10. We'll do that when we come back right here after this break on FHN.
At Metals Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
Hey, welcome back to FHN. I hope you find that previous little segment there useful and give that a try. And, you know, again, let us know how it goes for you. We are now pleasantly willing to talk to Matt Messing, owner of Messing Around Fishing Charters here out of Puget Sound. And Matt has been killing it. He is up there, you know, mid to north Puget Sound, and really loves fishing Area 10, been doing a good job on them resin coho. But now it's Chinook time, and I know for certain, Matt, you were on the water today and got some clients out. How'd your morning go, man? Did you guys find some decent nooks?
We did. It took a little bit. It was a little slow going. we ended up having to run up towards 9 to finally get our couple fish.
Is that right? Okay. Well, the tides this morning were kind of interesting, weren't they?
It wasn't moving much at all.
Right, right. Kind of spreads things out. Historically, you would think that you get them really lackluster tides, doesn't get a lot of current movement, doesn't push them bait fish up into any particular area that them Chinook can key in on. Everything's just kind of flat and just hanging, low key, so not a lot of activity. I had heard that some things popped later this afternoon on the afternoon tide a little better up north. What did you actually find out there? Where'd you find success? And let's talk a little bit about what you were presenting those critters to get them to snap.
So all my success today came off of some Gibbs skinny G's, no bananas.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's what I caught all my fish on today.
I'll be darned. Okay.
Hot spot flasher, silver fever, and no bananas.
Huh. Interesting. Kind of depth were you having to fish, and what was your troll speed?
So it was about 100 foot. I started off going pretty deep, and just wasn't really getting nothing, so I brought it up, and 100 foot, right about 1.7 to 2 knots.
Yeah. Any coho encounters?
Not a single one.
Okay.
No coho. Yeah, the coho for me have kind of I don't know. They're ignoring me right now. I don't know what I did to them. But hey, I'll take that any day. If the Kings want to start playing, I'm down.
Right. Are you saying mostly hatchery Kings or?
Yeah, I caught one nice wild today, and the rest of them were hatcheries. I lucked out. Not too many encounters, but everything I caught was a keeper.
Yeah. What are you thinking about the size of the fish early season here? How you liking it?
Oh, they're good. They're good. We got an 11 and a 13 pounder this morning, and then the afternoon we got like 2 5s and an 8. So but last week there was a lot of big fish. I wish last week was the opener like it should have been.
Sure. Yeah, like it should have been. 16th typically. Yeah.
Do you think that you're going to see bigger fish, say, as the better tides start coming around, or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay. The last few days it's kind of been smaller fish hitting.
Right.
Like I said, like middle of last week it was if you caught a king, it was a big fish.
For those that aren't real familiar with Area 10, and let's focus on Chinook, let's talk about a couple areas that, as far as if I'm looking at a map and somebody says Jeff Head, it's like, okay, what does that mean? What depth of water am I looking at? What tide do I want to fish that exactly? Is that an incoming? Is it a high slack to outgo? What about point, no point? Some of those areas along there that maybe I haven't really put much time in or haven't ever ventured into. How about that shoreline along that side over there? What are some things guys should be looking for? How about depth of water?
Depth of water right now, we're finding bait at about the 180 to 220 mark. That's where I'm finding a lot of that bait just piling up finally. And I'm just kind of, work that shoreline from, Jefferson Point to Kingston. That all the way up and down there is really good. And then, the more north you go, kind of on that high tide, working really well. And then if you got that low tide going, that south end of Jefferson, pretty good. Except this morning it was a little dead there.
Are you noticing a better bite in certain parts of the tide, like let's say the high flood or when it first ebbs?
Right after that change. As soon as it changes, it is just like boom, 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 and then it just shuts right back down on you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the tides will be increasing as the week progresses. When do you think that thing will really pop and will, you probably anticipate getting out there this morning, maybe having to hunt and peck for them a little bit just based on the lackluster tides. But as these tides build a little bit, rolling into this next week, do you have a higher speculation you'll find fish earlier? Right at crack of dawn, or you just kind of go with it and see what happens?
Yeah, I think the earlier you're out there, the better. With Kings especially, that first light, they're going, and if you can time that tide with that light, it's just going to be right off the bat. I think it's going to be on fire. Yeah.
You rolling much bait out there, Matt, or are you mostly pulling hardware spoons and hoochies, and how often do you run a plug?
I hardly ever run plugs. It is not my confidence key,
right.
And I fish with what I'm confident in, and so my bait has just been a couple flat lines, which have been pretty go-to for the coho until the last like 3 or 4 days, and then the bait's just kind of shut down for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been spoons right now. Even the hoochies, usually, I save that hoochies for those big fish. You don't have to deal with many shakers and whatnot, but spoons was key for me today. I had to put both of them down and that was fish on.
Yeah. When you run those hoochies, you put a bait strip on them?
Yeah, occasionally. I'll throw a little strip on there.
Okay.
Unless you get into those dogfish. Dogfish have been pretty thick lately in 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So I'm going to probably stay off from running too much bait up there for the first couple days. Give it a go on some hardware, some hoochies, some spoons and whatnot, and see what we can find. Hey, if folks want to book a trip with you, as long as 10, how long do you think 10's going to be open? Any guesses? I mean, we're going to get a week, 10 days?
I hope we get a week, man. If they do to us like what they did in the wintertime, I bet it's going to be closed in a week.
Yeah. Short windows for sure. I mean, 9's even just more of a joke as far as 4 days of opportunity, and they'll slam the door on that Chinook opportunity. However, we got to keep some of those numbers in reserve so we can have opportunity on the coho. We get that, but it sure would be nice to be able to go out there and chase around 5 or 6, 8, 10,000 Chinook, wouldn't it? Give us a full summer of pursuing these buggers, because those are some really nice fish coming in. Big Chinook this year, and it's just a bummer that it's such a short window of opportunity. But hey, there's always next year to look forward to. But in the meantime, folks that want to come out and give that area a try and haven't fished it before, you got some openings coming up?
Yeah, I got a few. We're booking up fast. I got some afternoons here and there, and maybe a couple morning trips.
Okay, so they can get a hold of you at messingaroundfishingcharters.com, or give you a call at 360-621-2681. That sound about right?
Yep, that's right. If you want to book a trip and you want to go have some fun on some big kings, let's go.
All right, I'll make sure David gives you a call. He wants to book that trip. Yeah. All right, man. Good to talk to you, man. Don't be a stranger. We'll get you on again for sure. Have a great evening.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
You bet.
Bye.
Yeah, so that guy worked in the shipyard up there in Bremerton forever.
Right.
As a welder, he finally just said, screw it, man. I'm going fishing full time. Started messing around, fishing charters, and just loving life, having a blast. Younger guy, dialed in up there. If you haven't checked him out, get on Matt's Facebook page, Matt Messing, messingaroundfishingcharters.com. Give him a look, give him a call. You're going to enjoy your day. Has a nice boat he's running, definitely Defiance, and you're going to be comfortable. He's got all top-of-the-line gear, and one of the guys out there doing it right. So with that, Barnum, remind folks again, hey, August 10th, we'll be here before we know it.
August 10th.
Right? Get on our Facebook page, check it out. Want to give some hats and stickers away, and just need to have persons get on there. Simple contest. Tell us what day you think Area 10's closing. And of course, also get folks to subscribe to our Facebook page, or like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It can't get much easier than that. Get your name on there, and we will award those on Sunday. Sherry will take opportunity to ship those on out to your humble abode. No travel necessary on your part.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Get on there and get some swag. There's some pretty awesome swag going on.
These shirts are pretty killer. They're flying out of the door, too. We're going to have to order a bunch more. We got some hats. Got the next series of hats coming with the sewn-on patches. These are, if you get on our online store there on our Facebook page, the hats are $22.
Yeah, blowing them out.
22 bucks. We're almost out of them, and we got more ordered, but it takes time to get inventory in. So don't be caught this summer without your trucker hat.
Right.
Huh? Especially if you're getting a little thin on top like us guys. You want to have that trucker hat to cover that up.
Who's getting thin?
Me. Look at this.
Oh, okay. No, I'm way worse than that. I just grow it all back here now. It's all migrating to the back.
You're just going to do that Trump
Comb
flip.
over?
You're
Yes.
do that Trump flip.
Yeah.
That's what's coming. Got to bleach that stuff blonde, and
I stay out in the sun. It's starting to go a little blonde now.
Get
God, by the end of September, I might look like Trump.
Atta girl. Okay, we are going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us. We got some fish to go kill the next few days. If you're out there on the water, Puget Sound or wherever, and having some success, please share it with other folks that follow us here on our Facebook page. Love to see your photos. Love to see the kids out there with the big smiles on. Barnum's going to be banging nails and building homes. I'm going to get out there on Puget Sound over the next handful of days. Go try to find some Chinookies. So
Yeah, good luck.
Maybe I'll smoke some up for you.
Yeah, send me pictures.
Send you pictures. Hey, when you were out there getting coho at Westport or sturgeon, you
were working.
And I was working. So anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll be back here next week, Thursday evening, 7 p.m. on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Hopefully we won't have that little glitch that kicks us off the air for 18 seconds. But we got David to fix it if it does. So have a great week. Check us out on Facebook. Follow all our information. And we will see you right back here next Thursday.